What is up, guys? This is Tikwe, also known as Richard, and we're bringing you another game, a nice little short one of myself playing the French against JKO.Wimmer. We are having a mirror matchup, and guys, I have to say, no matter what the map, I'm seeing so many people pick up the French these days. They are a really strong, balanced faction. But there's a lot that you have to consider when playing them, and I think there's an adoption to playstyle that comes from scouting out your enemy, and it's also a more of a reactive early game than it is a set in stone style like what you kind of have with the Chinese or so on. So get your scouts out. I recommend a double scout start as the French. Use that to actually find out information on your enemy to know if they are rushing into archers or spearmen and so on. I've lost easy games because of miss or investing resources into the wrong things early on. But there's a new style or a new strategy going on right now that as the French, which is important. We're playing a French mirror, but I am starting to practice this new strategy to kind of get good at it. So you start immediately with the scout first into double villager. Um, Essentially, you don't want to go for a royal knight rush. You want to go for horsemen and archers, right? So to have horsemen and archers, all you need is food and wood. So you'll invest the first 8 villagers onto food. You'll take your second and third, fourth, and fifth villagers, 4 villagers onto gold, and you use any buildings or so on that you need to produce, like an extra house and so on. You use the gold villagers to do that. But the goal is to get the wheelbarrow upgrade and then get enough gold so you can actually go into the feudal age. You take the villagers off of gold and build your landmark, and then you transition into 14 or 13 villagers on food and 7 to 8 villagers on wood, with maybe one at the most two on your gold vein, so you can actually get those horsemen and those um, archers out very early, especially like against the English that rushes or against like the Mongols that like playing aggressive. It's a really nice way to just amass a lot of units very early, so you can counter those plays from them. Um, so we're playing a French mirror matchup on its mountain pass, right? So what you'll find is these little choke points right here and right here. So sometimes I found that you get these little sneaky little pass throughs, or a little space like this where you don't think you can pass through actually has some form of way through, and you can sneak some villagers or units through there. So just make sure you scout these mountain ranges properly so you don't get surprised if you do wall this off. If you want to play very safely, a nice way to do that is when you go for the fast feudal age, go heavy on stone so you can actually stone wall off this area, and you'll be able to do that very quickly because he's going to want to wait for about 2 to 4 nights before he's probably going to rush. So we're getting a sheep lead here. I did get into his side of the base so I can pick up more sheep. There was surprisingly not that many around. We can see if we missed any significant amount. There's one here. Um, Not any more than I see. They usually spawn like right here in the middle that you get a 3. And then at the back of the base is like here. Yeah, there's another one here at the back, far back. It's not very often that you get these little mountains spawning here. They sometimes spawn rather, right here at the back of the mountains. But it's quite a nice safe gold supply. If you had to transition into a gold supply there, same as this. This is if I had to defend this by closing off here, getting castles up, going for a sacred site, and then heavy defense here with another sacred site. You can go for a sacred site win, but if you're going to go that late into this game, I would be very surprised. Um, excuse me. So he's also going for the School of Cavalry, same as what we did. We have 3 villagers on ours. He has 3 villagers on his. Um, I think he started his a little bit sooner than I did because I think he invested more resources into the food. We're trying to just get enough so we can um, trickle in immediate armies from when we do reach, the feudal age. As soon as you hit the feudal age, you want to be able to train units immediately. It doesn't help you rush the landmark, and you are not able to actually train units. So keep your villager production up, keep your houses up. You can see the houses going up before we reach population cap. And when you do reach population cap, your units will still train, like if I train another villager here, that unit will still train, but it won't finish. Another nice thing I like to do early on, especially with the double scout start, is to do what we're doing right now. We're taking the double scouts and harassing the gold, or harassing outside of um, the line of fire. You can see the town center is like up to here. So we're staying out of that range, forcing him off of his gold. He does not even oh, he actually does have enough to train his first Royal Knight, and he's going for archery range, but we're in his base. We can see exactly what's going on, and I think because we see that as soon as we have enough wood, we'll probably do the exact same thing. So he's doing really well. As a French mirror, he's going exactly like I said, heavy on food, heavy on wood, very, very heavy on wood early on. So we know there's going to be a lot of archers coming out here. He's sitting on 300 wood and enough food. So these archers are going to start rolling out. He's getting that Royal Knight out. I'm getting my Royal Knight out. So very, very equal on the timing here, right? I think the only difference is I maybe gave him a bit of anxiety or a bit of jitters because of this early scout raid, so he had to micro there, not focusing on actually using 500 wood that's sitting here. I mean, these archers were supposed to roll out already, and he was not doing that. He was focusing on getting Royal Knights out and villagers. So reinvestment into food like what he's doing right now, that's a good call. That's a really good call. So we're sitting on 12 villagers. That's on his side. We're sitting on 12 on food, 5 on wood, 4 on gold. The 4 on gold is good enough to get these Royal Knights out. At JKO, he's sitting almost the same, 12 on food, 9 on wood, 2 on gold. So he has less of gold, so he won't necessarily get as much Royal Knights out, but he's definitely going to get enough archers out. If you wanted to defend this and you were playing against a French that just showed you that he is going to come harass this forward gold because he was just here with the scouts, the right thing would have been to actually go for a barracks and then just put just one or two of your spearmen right here. That would stop any fast charges because they will brace and then they will be able to pick it up. It's worth more to get the double spearman out than to get this outpost out because you'll actually be able to defend these resources. So he's pulling more villagers onto the gold here, and he does get a little raid in here. He does pick off a villager here, so he did get a raid in. And I'm sending these units just to kind of chase him off, just to avoid them from turning on us or getting any other form of raid going. We have 3 Royal Knights in the queue right there. We have archers getting out here, and you can see what I usually do is I shift click the production buildings. You can even double click multiple. If you double click the archers, it will select all the archery ranges or stables. All the stables will be selected in the screen. So I shift click them, Control 7, so you can see um, they actually get bound to 7 here. So if I press 7, no matter where I am on the map, I can still train my units and do what I need to right here, right? Without being there. And if I double tap it, I'm back there. H is your town center, and I like binding that to 2. Usually my scout is bound to 1, and military I'll split my knights like on 4 and archers on 5 and basically spearmen on 6. So then I know exactly, when I'm fighting or trying to push in, I know exactly what's happening. I have the scout in the little stealth forest right here, so I know exactly he's coming in. I react by pressing this army in forward and bringing this in. So if he decides to cut in to try and get to my resources, he won't be able to. And then we just use that to stop any forward raiding happening from him. You can see he's also. I don't like the fact that he's sitting on so much resources and not training units. That's probably a bad call if you're playing French against someone that's already shown you that they're going to play aggressively, right? So why not just mass up army? It won't help you going into the castle age because you won't have any units to actually defend your base. So either you have to wall off what you can right now as a JKO right now, or you probably have to make sure you get an army ready. Because we're sitting on 6 Royal Knights, 6 Archers, and a lot more in production, just getting ready. We're sitting on a double archery range right now, and I'm only using the archers because I know the archers can counter any spear play from him. Any spears are a big threat to the cavalry, but because I have these groupings of my units, I just run around with the Royal Knights. We'll see what happens. I'll speed up a little bit just so we can get into the juicy details here. But um, we sitting on 7 Royal Knights, 6 Archers. We have the Scout, just making sure we have vision. It's a really good practice for yourself. If you go into these fights to have a scout with you, just to have that line of sight of any mangonels or any forward keeps or anything like that, especially like the heavy stealth forest maps that you can actually see what's happening. He does try and go for the raid right here, but we did wall that off. So we are playing to our advantage right now, and he's gonna have to decide either he's coming to defend this, getting 2, 3, 4 villagers straight off the bat there because the spearman was out of position. And the knights, all we are doing now is using their keybinds. I'm selecting forward, chasing down the villagers, and using the archers to pick off the spearmen. So you can see how high the health is of the Royal Knights just because we actually invested into the archers to pick up any spearmen that came out like this. So now we're just trying to decimate the what do you call it, villagers. I didn't even see these villagers for some reason. I don't know why. But we're getting the Royal Knights out of the way. We're getting the archers back. I kind of mismanaged them a little bit here because they're dying to this outpost. Um, but the Royal Knights do have the upgrades as well. Please do get your blacksmith out. We have the decarbonization by standard. Siege engineering coming out now. So the best way to have raided there would have probably been with your steeled arrow and fitted leatherwork as a first upgrade. He did eventually get those 2 Royal Knights out all the way around and now trying to harass my food supply. But we'll get that little alarm, we'll move the villagers, we'll just garrison them and reposition what we need to. We know the next call is the gold vein, so we'll just move the villagers out of the way because they already got their charge off. And we're just going to garrison right now. Very easy to garrison, and then while that's happening at the same time, we're just raiding him again. We are losing more and more units right now, so it was quite difficult to keep the raids up. But the point is, I wish you could see the villagers. I wish you could see how many um, villagers he's sitting on, just like what you see usually after game. You see that right here. Um, But yeah, let's just go to income there. He's sitting on, give or take, almost 30 villagers, right? I'm sitting on 30 villagers. He's sitting on 20 villagers. So we're having a bit of a 10 villager lead. He's trying to go in for that raids again. We have the black barracks right next to our gold vein, so our villagers can farm gold in peace now because we know there's not any archers going to chase them down. We're putting a few archers, spearmen, literally right on top of the gold vein, so you can see that right there. So they'll brace and defend these Royal Knight rushes. And he has the same thing happening. These spearmen should be on the gold. But what we're doing right now is we're just using the few archers that we have and training battering rams. And the battering rams will essentially be our kill command to go for any sort of final push to win this game. Um, if I can think about what I did wrong, this army that I used to raid 2 or 3 times, I could have done that a lot better if I waited for maybe 10 or 15 archers and then just waited for him to retaliate like what he's doing right now, because I don't have these defense buildings to deal with. I don't have the town center to deal with. So all I can do is I use my archers um, to pick off at the units, use my Royal Knights to kite off, and while my archers are doing the work, my Royal Knights are doing the tanking, we can just pick off the units. No, we're not scared of the Royal Knight. It's just like one Royal Knight. We're using our Royal Knight actually on the archers um, instead of on the spearmen, and we just continue training the rams. So now we have a double ram ready. We're going for the third ram. You can see how much we've invested into wood, but at this point I know the wood is the priority, right? So we do have enough. You can see we're sitting on 500 wood. This will be enough to get to 600 for 2 more battering rams. And we're just going for a little bit of reinvesting or repositioning some villagers onto the food so we can increase this food amount because we were struggling to get some units out. So we get some spearmen out, we get the Royal Knights out, and now we're sending all of those units that are actually or rallied to run all the way forward like here. And we get the spearmen in time. That's why I kited the archers back. Another thing you could have done is actually use the archers and garrison them inside the battering rams. So it would have been a really nice defense and you wouldn't have lost the little archer there, but that's okay. And now we have the 3 rams, and you know there is a lot of villagers, idle villagers right here, idle villagers right here. You know, he had to reinvest into farms instead of going for, you know, deer that is up here or getting them spotted out. But right now we're just using the archers to pick off the spearmen, the Royal Knights to defend our archers, and then any spearmen to deal with any Royal Knights from this side. The battering rams at this point in stage, because of how little units he have and mostly archers, he's not going to be able to siege this down unless he pulls more villagers. And he knows my units has been trickling in. I actually mismanaged my resources between fighting, and you know these rams inside his base. It's just so intimidating to deal with these rams. You can see the knight is just alone picking off these archers. The spearmen are dead, so it's a single knight and a single ram picking off at these villagers and at these archers. And I think at this point it just became a little bit overwhelming. He could have probably fought this out a little bit longer. We have our units coming out again, another, you know, 7 or 8 units right there, and going for the wall up because I was scared he was going to retaliate, but GG gets called. Don't be scared of range mirror matchups, but do play aggressive with your units and do get information with your scouts. I think that's the best thing you can probably do to play into your own strengths. And if it's like against the English, be careful of Royal Knights. Rather go with Horsemen and get to the Castle Age with upgrades. I think that's. I'll make a video on that very soon. But thank you very much for watching, guys. That was another French versus French mirror. I have a lot of them on my channel because I keep getting French as an opponent, but that's okay. We learn. We are going to transition into a new faction soon. So keep an eye on the channel and please do leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the content. And I hope you have a nice day.